Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Pisces be affected by the December 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the World and we have the Fool. I love that because it really shows a new beginning starting, and we're going into 2022, right? The angel number 222 for new beginnings. And so this is something that we're ready for. We have the Empress and we have the Four of Coins. Interesting. We have the Knight of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. So if we have Earth sign energy within our natal chart, this comes through very powerfully in our emotional self. We have the Eight of Wands. Then we have Judgment, and we have the Tower. This makes a lot of sense. This is powerful, this is intense, and this is exactly what we need. It is exactly what we need. So let's see what our energy to be mindful of is. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. It's the Princess of Pentacles. It's not spending our money wisely. Okay, that's going to be one of the things that we have to be mindful of. But we also have to be mindful of the manipulation of others around money and finances and prosperity and our abundance. So that's going to be something that we need to be aware of here. We really need to look at very honestly during this time. This is going to be a person who has a certain entitlement to them, can throw these little hissy fits and just think, well, I'll get it because I said so, I demanded it, I want it. And that's going to be something that we have to be mindful of here. So let's look at our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. It's that one right there. This is our throat chakra, it's communication. It's communicating with ourselves what we want. It's communicating with the world around us, our angels and our spirit guides. It's also knowing that communication isn't just the words that are being said, it's the body language, it's the energy. It's so much more than what we initially think it is. And our communication skills are going to be very much on point during this time, but it's also going to be something that we can feel overwhelmed by. We can feel overwhelmed by all the energy that we're taking in, all the knowledge that's coming our way. So let's talk about this time astrologically. On the 18th of December, going into the 19th of December, we have the full moon in Gemini, which is the answers you need are coming. And that's going to be very powerful for us because a lot of revelations are coming our way, especially since for us here, Pisces, the year of 2021, nobody has found this year, immensely fun, okay? But here with the Tower, there has been a sense of we've merely been shaken. And here with this full moon is very lucky, and it's the perfect way of ending 2021. So with the full moon in Gemini, it's luck. And this makes us lucky because of the power of this moon coming forward with us. And the fact that we are represented by the moon in the tarot means that the moon has a greater impact on us than it does others. We kind of feel it's going to be us and it's Cancer who really have a tremendous connection with the moon. All right, Pisces. So if we have Cancer within our chart anywhere, that could really amplify things. So just be aware of this. Now, this is because the luck that is on our side is because of Jupiter playing such a prominent role during this time. And Jupiter is one of the most positive planets in astrology. So that's going to be really quite powerful here. We'll have to be mindful because not everything's going to be smooth sailing. And yet we're going to think, oh, okay, it's going along really well. I got this. And Spirit's saying here, don't count your chickens before they're hatched kind of thing. The sun is going to be opposite the moon, which is how the story of the full moon always begins. The sun is opposite the moon. And this the energy of this lasts for 2 weeks after the full moon. So what this brings to the table is it brings a very close understanding and focus of our relationships. We also become very aware of the different directions we're being pulled in and how this is hurting us, how this is harming us, how we can't be everywhere that we're needing to be, that we're wanting to be. We need to be very open and honest with ourselves where we're being drained, energy-wise, personally, spiritually, how we're being overwhelmed. Emotions and intuition reach their peak during the full moon. With our increased emotional strength and emotional awareness and our increased intuition, this really helps us see what we really need to focus on, and it helps us overcome any challenges. And as we're overcoming these challenges, as we're seeing things very clearly, we also become aware of our subconscious understanding, and we will find ourselves really relying on our intuition. We're really going to become more aware of our subconscious and the way that we can tap into it, because Pisces, we have a way of tapping into our subconscious that most other signs don't have. This is also a time where we see the significance. A spotlight is put on the end of a cycle, and what we need to let go, what we need to release into the world. And we see this emotionally. We see this in the Tower. We see this in the public arena. Inwardly, we're going to have a little bit of a hard time releasing things. There's going to be, we have a little bit of the hoarder in us, a little bit of the, I have to hold on to this because I might not have it sort of energy. So just be aware of that. The last hours that the North Lunar Node is in Gemini are on the 18th of December. And what we have here is we have Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and we have Mercury in Capricorn. And this makes the energy of the North Lunar Node very grounded, very rational. And we're going to be using this because the North Lunar Node is also known as the head of the dragon. We're going to be using this to gain an understanding of what we're seeing, of what we're pulling towards us. We become very perceptive, we become very articulate, we become very active in what we want, and we're really setting things up for 2022. It's almost like I'm not taking a passive role anymore. I'm not letting things happen. Now I'm going after. Now I'm achieving. And this is going to be very powerful for us. The full moon is also in discord with Neptune, which means more for us than it does any other sign because we are ruled by Neptune, Pisces. And with the full moon, in discord with Neptune, it's challenging us. It's making things not run maybe as smoothly as we would want it to. But Neptune is our spiritual understanding. It's our sixth sense. If we hone into this, if we tap into this aspect of our personality, which is really quite powerful, all of a sudden we can become unstoppable. It is our beliefs, it is our hopes, and it is what we want for our world. Neptune also has us looking at things from a higher spiritual understanding. It's almost like we're looking down and we're starting to see, okay, what do I want? What do I need? Where do I need to be? Where is it that I'm, trying to get myself? And all of a sudden things become very, very clear to us. We start to look at and really see our dreams and how we can start to incorporate our dreams into our waking world and have our dreams become an active part of our reality. The black moon, Lilith, is in Gemini. Now, this makes it so that we believe in something that isn't true. All right, so that's going to be very interesting for us because we have this strong spiritual connection with Neptune, and then the black moon comes in, and it's like, okay, you're not seeing things correctly, and it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And what it means is that somebody has told us something, we've looked at something, we've kind of drawn the wrong conclusions or had the wrong conclusions told to us. Do not act until the 20th. Okay, don't make any big decisions until the 20th, even though this might have been building up, because we need to make sure that we're acting in the most professional, powerful, decisive way, so that when we act, man, are the repercussions felt. The full moon is going to be trine Jupiter. Now, this is really good. This brings positivity, it brings good luck, it brings wealth, it brings abundance, and it brings happiness. We will have the ability to grow spiritually, personally, and, become healthier, happier, and wiser individuals. We don't feel as alone with this alignment because it makes it easier for us to share our feelings. We are also going to find that we get, great rewards from our relationships and our socialization and just being connected with people. It's going to have a huge, powerful effect on us. We'll be open and honest with our goals and what we are looking for in life, which will benefit us on a personal and professional level. So that's really going to be good. We also have to be mindful of sharing too much with low energy people, which can be hard to find. It can be easy sometimes to pick out a low energy person, but sometimes it can also be really hard to pick out the low energy person because they could be really good at masquerading and narcissistic tendencies and everything like that. So just be aware of this, because less developed people will try to sabotage us. They will try to cheat us. They will really try to turn our openness, our honesty, our creativity against us. So just be aware of this. Now, this is also the alignment of the full moon trine Jupiter is absolutely brilliant for the holiday season. And it makes us spread goodwill and generosity so much more readily and easily than we would normally. The full moon is also going to be quincus Venus. Now, Venus goes into retrograde 6 hours after the full moon on the 19th of December. This makes things tricky because, we have this wonderful balancing energy of Jupiter coming in, so it smooths everything out, but we still have a sense of things not being quite settled in our relationships. So the full moon quincus Venus increases our need for love and affection, and things become tricky when we feel that our relationships aren't balanced, or we feel like we aren't being heard or seen. So either we feel taken advantage of, or we will feel smothered. It'll be one of the two extremes. This is a time to act inwardly, but not externally. So this isn't the time to say, that's it, we're going to have this row, we're going to, kind of make all these changes right now. We need to look at our hearts. We need to look at what we want. We need to look at what we love. We need to look at where we stand emotionally within ourselves. And then as we do this, we need to say, okay, how am I changing this game? How am I moving forward? We need to ask ourselves, how do I love myself? How am I showing love to me? And what am I putting up with that isn't okay in my life, that isn't right? And why am I putting up with it? Even if we're not in romantic relationships, we need to ask these questions for ourselves in all the relationships that we're in, including the relationship that we're in with ourselves. The full moon is going to be quincus Pluto. So this alignment can increase the imbalance in our relationships, which we're thinking with everything that Venus has to offer. This isn't what I want. I need my relationships to be more balanced. But what this does is it makes things get really real, really fast. All of a sudden, we're not putting up with bull or malarkey or, any sort of nonsense. We need to see what we feel, and we need to be open and honest with what we desire from our lives. We need to have a friend, a family member, a therapist, a spiritual advisor that we can talk to, that we can kind of have this safe space to open up on what we want and where it is that we want to be. And then all of a sudden we can avoid a crisis. We can avoid a buildup of pain that needs to be released. So just being aware of that. We can also journal. All right. We can write it all out if that's how we release things from ourselves, and just burn the pages afterwards, because Lord knows we're going to be writing some things down that we don't want anybody to read. So just be aware of this. Venus is going to be conjunct Pluto. Now this makes us in love with the idea of being in love. I mean, it really does. So what we have to be mindful of is falling in lust and thinking it's love, or wanting lust to be love. I mean, that would be great, right? If you could have like the first couple of weeks of a relationship be the whole entire relationship all the time, it would be exciting and fun. And the dopamine levels are super, super high. But it's not like that. So we just have to be very mindful here of what we're lusting after, because we will be lusting after things. Now let's talk about the fixed stars. We have the fixed star Betelgeuse, located within the constellation of Orion. Now this brings material honor, promotion, and wealth. It will also reveal immense strength. But the question here is, why is this strength coming forward? How is this strength coming forward? What are we being tested on that is making us embrace this strength and this power within us? This is also known as the workaholic star, so be mindful. Nothing will be done in halves. We'll either be all in or just completely disinterested, so be aware of that. With the star, with Betelgeuse aligned with the moon, this makes us swift-minded, it makes us strong-willed, it makes us rebellious and restless when we are feeling when we feel we are being controlled. There we go. We also don't like authority figures. Right now, we don't want to be told what to do, so be aware of that. But this can also bring great power, great honor, and great wealth, because we're going to be so focused on our success and what we want to achieve and how we're going after it. The constellation of Orion brings us strength, it brings us dignity, it brings us self-confidence, it brings us also inconsistency, arrogance, violence, and impiety. So we have to just be aware of that it brings some really great things, but it can also make us a bit of a jerk, and have a really big hot temper. And it does the same thing for everybody. So just be aware of this. But there are also one of the good things is that there's success in trade, especially overseas. So a success in overseas business or connecting with people who are overseas. So that's pretty cool. Now we have the fixed star Polaris, which is not as kind as Betelgeuse, even though we might think, wow, Betelgeuse wasn't necessarily that great, but it really does have some great things to offer us. Polaris, not so much. So Polaris is the fixed star located within the constellation of Ursa Minor. So this is, again, not as positive as Betelgeuse, but because it can cause, okay, get ready for it, it can cause sickness, it can cause trouble, it can cause loss of fortune, it can cause disgrace. Also, in legal and inheritance issues, it can bring great evil to the situation, all right? So just be aware of it. It's not the best star out there. This star, however, okay, the good thing about this star is that it is our guide. And I know it sounds like some weird sort of, terrible guide, like it's some sort of horror movie guide, but it's not that. What it is, it's a guide to look at what is broken, what needs to be fixed, where things are starting to crack before they become huge, cavernous, Grand Canyon craters that can't be gotten over. So we're being told where to focus our attention before it becomes too intense. In astrology, okay, astrologically speaking, the bear, Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, all right, are said to be an evil influence, especially in regards to nations and kings. So that's something to be really mindful of here, and that's something that really stands out with this star, that this star is going to affect nations and kings, leaders, right, way more than it affects the normal person. The only problem is when it affects the nations, when it affects the leaders, it trickles down to us, and it trickles down to really affecting our day-to-day lives. But this is a time where they can start to see the cracks in things and need to fix it. If they don't fix it, then there's going to be trouble ahead, right? There's going to be things where it's like, well, why didn't you look at this? Why weren't you open about this? Why didn't you pay attention here instead of paying attention there, sort of thing? So just be mindful of that. It's not necessarily the best news we've heard, but it is a wake-up call, and that's good. I do like that. At our root, we have the world. The world is opening to us. Why? Because we're starting to dream again. And there's almost a sense of we've stopped dreaming. Now, it can be with the fear that we had with everything that's going on, but there is this real sense of I became overwhelmed. I became too intense. And now it's through the storybooks, it's through the connection with a calmer reality that I'm starting to connect with what I deeply want inside of me, how I want to move forward, how I want to celebrate my world and myself and what I desire. And it brings us to the Fool. It brings us to being able to move forward. And it brings us to having the courage to make a fool out of ourselves, because it's remembering any hero, any person who embraces the hero's journey starts off as a fool. They just do. That's how it starts off. Everybody laughs. Oh, I'm going to go slay that dragon. Everybody laughs at them. Oh, I'm going to go slay Medusa. Everybody laughs at them. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to, go to this other country. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Until you are a success. When you do something that is outside the realm of norm, when you do something that is out of the box, right? They laugh. They mock. They say you could never do it until you do it. And then they say, wow, I always believed in you. And it's like, well, that's hogwash, So here with the Fool, we're being brave to follow our dreams. We're being told to walk a path that others don't walk, to move forward in a way that we hadn't, because we're giving birth to something that is quite extraordinary, that we need to release from in ourselves. Now, yes, this could be a child. It could be as literal as we're giving birth. But what it also is that we have something creative, we have something expressive, we have something powerful within us that needs to be released, that needs to be brought forward. And that becomes the game changer. And as that is the game changer, as we're bringing it forward, we're going to have a tendency to want to hold on to the energy around us and say, oh my gosh, no. Like, I can't possibly be successful. I can't possibly move forward the way that I need to. This becomes overwhelming. This becomes intense. I can't. And what Spirit is saying here is that we have to let go of trying to hold on to everything, because we just can't do it. It's going to drain us. It's going to overwhelm us. It's going to stop us from getting to the place that we really need to be: soul, mind, and spirit. And so here with the Four of Pentacles, it's like, what are we holding on to? What aren't we releasing? Where are we staying in chaos? And it might be that we look around, our living space and go, this is where I'm staying in chaos. But it can also be that we look within ourselves and we find the fear, we find the doubt, we find the self-sabotaging, like the 18 million things that we have to do instead of, starting that project that we always wanted to, or starting the animation, or, the drawing, or the book, or the music, or, whatever it is that we want to start. And we say, oh no, but I have to do this first. Like, I have to really clean those dishes, and I have to mop the floor, and I have to do all these little things that I would just let sit. But now that it's scary, if I embrace what I need to embrace, I'm going to fix the little tiny things that are just there to distract me. And so the Four of Pentacles says, where's the vampiric energy coming from? Is it coming from other people? Are we in a job that's just sucking the light out of us? Are we in relationships that aren't good for us? Are we, being too hard on ourselves? What is here that is holding us back? Because in our hearts, my goodness, are we ready to move forward in the public arena? Here, Pentacles are money, right? It's career. Well, the Wands are career, but the Pentacles is money and stability and prosperity. And we're slowly and steadily building something that is solid and good and, distinguished and intense. And we're moving forward in that energy. We're moving forward towards what we want. Our hearts are very grounded during this time, which is really quite cool. And then brings us to the Eight of Wands, and everything starts moving really super fast. Everything starts moving forward, and we think, wow, this change is just coming in, and we get swept away with it. We get swept up in it, and it just kind of takes our breath away. It moves us forward in a way that we're not expecting. And in the public arena, it brings us to judgment, right? It brings us to rising out of the box, out of the expectation that we had for ourselves, out of what we thought we were supposed to be. And now we're looking at who we truly are. And as we do this, we start to embrace ourselves more and more. As we do this, we start to see ourselves more and more. And we're answering our angels' calls. We're answering the greater voice within us that's saying there's more here than meets the eye. And as we're doing this, we're going after our dreams, we're going after what we desire, but we're also finding ourselves brave. And this can be absolutely terrifying. It most likely is going to be absolutely terrifying, but it is going to be so important. And it brings us to the Tower. It brings us to divinity pushing us out of our comfort zone, which could have been all of 2021. But as we're making the plans, as we're saying there's more here than meets the eye, as we're saying this is what I'm going after, this is what I want, this is what I need, we're embracing something astounding. That if everything didn't get shaken up, if we hadn't lost it all, if we hadn't been, just so down on ourselves at one point or another in our lives, we would never get to this point. And it sounds so absolutely absurd, but it's almost like our mind was opened, our eyes were opened, our soul was opened in a way that it wouldn't have been if everything had just been easy. And so the tower brings change. It doesn't have to be terrifying change, though a lot of times it is. It's roads that we would never have walked down if, we had our dithers. But Spirit says, this is the path. This is what we have to see. This is how we have to embrace it. Because what you're going to connect with, what you're going to achieve, what you're going to move forward with, well, it needs this energy. It needs this understanding. It needs this wisdom. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Okay, so let's see. We have here, emotions are running high. Faith, have faith. So we have the supermoon here. Emotions are running high. Have faith in what you are creating and what you are birthing forward, of the way that you are connecting with the world. It brings us to our lunar inner self, and it's the new moon. A new start is coming. Path. Are you willing to follow your path? Are you willing to follow what is needed, what you desire, how you're moving forward, a path that others are afraid to walk? And this is a time where we're going to see a new path opening to us, especially around, the end of the energy of this full moon, so the end of the 2 weeks, and the beginning of the new moon, which is, I believe, on the 2nd of January. The new moon is going to come in and it's going to say, well, what do you bring me? Like, what do you want? This is your blank slate. What are you building? What are you becoming? And always know, just like the moon, we are always growing and changing and diminishing and becoming something different. It is that cycle. It is that understanding. It brings us to our subconscious, not our subconscious, our lunar emotional self. And we have the full moon in Pisces. We have our energy coming forward very strongly here, Pisces. And it says balance spirituality and practicality. Will you? Do you have the will for it? Do you have the tenacity for it? Do you have the power to do so? It brings us to our lunar public arena self. And it says your commitment is being tested. Here we have fruition. What are we bringing to fruition as our commitment is tested, as we are tested, as we doubt, as we fear, as we're overwhelmed, as we want to push forward, as we need to push forward? What is being tested here? And what will come to fruition because of the changes that we have gone through? Our subconscious Luna message is a win-win outcome is forecast. Extremes. But we will be brought to extremes. The extremes high, the extreme lows, and in between. But a win-win outcome is forecast as we ride through, as we, kind of traverse the extremes. It brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And it's the princess. It's not the princess. It's the queen of pentacles. It's the energy vibration that isn't meshing with ours. And this person can be astoundingly successful. This person can be astoundingly powerful. But if we don't jive with them, if we, just feel just out of sorts around them, then we need to walk away from that energy. And it brings us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is the heart chakra, forgiveness. It is opening up the heart to love. And it's opening up our souls to forgive those who have wronged us, yes, but also to forgive ourselves for the doors and avenues we didn't take, for the way that we perceive ourselves as failures, or, the hurts and the pains that we have been through, the trauma and the drama that we might put on ourselves. And Spirit is saying it's part of the road. And sometimes, because sometimes really horrific things happen. And I don't know why. I cannot say in all honesty of heart that for the most horrific things in the world, it's, a divine will. It actually makes me question things. And it makes you say, okay, abstract divinity is becoming difficult. What if we looked at, concrete reality, like the ground and the trees and the water and the air? and believe in the connection there when things become so terrible that an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, all-caring, all-giving, deity seems wrong. And so here when we forgive ourselves, it can even be forgiving ourselves for not having the faith to always believe. It can be forgiving ourselves for choosing to love, or for loving the wrong person. Maybe we didn't choose to love that person. Maybe we just, were forced into it. For caring for a person who didn't care for us. For walking down a path that wasn't right. For making one bad decision that snowballed out of control. Let us forgive. And as we forgive, let us start loving ourselves. It moves us to our subconscious rooted energy, and that's the sun. That's the radiance of the sun shining through as we embrace the world, as we walk our journey. It's the light and the brilliance coming forward within us, reflecting off of the moon, which is, what the sun is and what the full moon is. And so here we are radiance. Here we are brilliance. Here we need to let ourselves shine without having other people or letting other people diminish our greatness. It brings us to our subconscious inner self. And that is the Knight of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is being a defender of our voice, of what we want, of the way that we're moving forward. This is a knowledge and a seeing. It's slaying the demons within us, the things that are holding us back, the things that are hoarding away our treasures, our brilliance, and saying no more. It's also being mindful of not just blindly running forward and say, don't worry, I got this, and not having a plan. It brings us to our subconscious emotional self, and it's the King of Swords. It's the heart and the mind coming together. We are represented by the cups in the minor arcana, right? We are the heart. And here we have the mind coming forward, the King of Swords, the cutting through doubts and fears and negativity, the sense of the mind and the heart coming together and being able to articulate, being able to see what is truly wanted, what is truly needed, how they truly want to move forward. And this is a time where we're cutting through negativity and saying no more. We're cutting through lies and we're saying no more. We're embracing the warrior king and we're being the warrior of the heart, the defender of the heart, the defender of the essence of ourselves, what we need of ourselves to be able to be strong and powerful and just totally embrace what we want from life. It brings us to our subconscious public arena self, and it's the Chariot. It's moving forward in love. It is the subconscious and the conscious coming together. And it's also realizing and embracing the fierceness that is us without apologizing that it isn't wrapped up in a package that other people want to see it as. All right, Pisces. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this full moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Pisces, and may you have a blessed moon.